Good morning, everybody. On behalf of the Foundation, I'm very pleased to welcome you to today's broadcast, which is the sixth in a new series the Foundation is providing. It's called Planning for the Unpredictable. The LA fires were a wake-up call for many of us. I know for me it was, because the concern was that wildfires could occur right here in Laguna Woods, and we should be prepared. But when you think about it in terms of California, wildfires are not the only disaster we should think about. Earthquakes are also quite common in California. In fact, a little over a week ago, there was an earthquake in Rialto, 3.5. To discuss how to prepare for earthquakes, how to consider them, we have a guest here today, Grace Stencel, who is the clubhouse coordinator for Clubhouse 3 right here in the village and a resident. Before we talk to Grace, though, I'm sure many of you know what the Foundation is. It is the village's very own charity. We step in to provide financial assistance to residents who are having financial challenges with temporary financial aid. We help them by being able to pay some of their bills. More recently, we have extended our focus, and we are attempting to enhance the quality of life in the village. For example, there are free fall prevention classes offered by the Foundation with the assistance of Memorial Care. We provide free of charge to residents emergency response devices for people who are at risk of falling, and we are currently renting about 80 of them. And most recently, we got a grant from Memorial Care where we are providing hearing aids to people who did not have them before. And last year, we were able to purchase 15 hearing aids. For those who got them, it was truly life-changing. I am Marcy Scheimold. I'm the president of the Foundation. And as I indicated at the beginning, I became concerned with the LA fires. They could happen here, and did we all know what to do to protect ourselves? Earthquakes can also happen here, and it is something that we should think about and be prepared for. I have invited today Grace Stencel to be our guest to talk about earthquake awareness and preparedness. Good morning, Grace.
Good morning, Marcy.
I'm glad you could join us today. How long have you lived in the village?
I've lived here 8 years.
Wow. And I understand you have an interesting background. Since many of the people watching this broadcast may not know you, could you tell us a little bit about your background?
Sure. Briefly, I was a Federal Aviation Administration designated examiner, test examiner. I was a U.S. merchant mariner and worked on a merchant marine ship in San Pedro. I was a United States Coast Guard auxiliarist. That's where I got involved with radio and emergencies, mostly was through the Coast Guard. And I am a licensed private pilot, and I am a licensed amateur radio operator.
And weren't you the president of the ham radio club here?
I was for 2 years, yes.
Okay, is that still an interest?
Oh, absolutely. It's very critical to what I'm going to talk about today, which is earthquake preparedness and what we do. The radio club is very involved in the preparedness and the actual use of radios during a disaster here.
Okay, let's look at earthquakes. We've when I've had other people on this broadcast, we've talked about wildfires, but there are some special risks or concerns that earthquakes present. What are those?
Well, if you think back, I think 1994 was the Northridge earthquake. Did you see all the highways that were destroyed? You couldn't drive. Buildings were demolished. The structures in a lot of facilities were down. That can happen. As a matter of fact, in California this year, since January to now, has registered 10,000 earthquakes.
Not all big, though.
Oh no, they register, what they report on is anything from 2.0 up. And so you may not have felt most of them, but it just lets you know this is here and it can happen.
Okay, how can residents be informed or alerted to an earthquake?
Well, that's very interesting because Laguna Woods Village is now implementing a brand new alert system. We used to have Code Red.
Yes.
And now we have a business called Everbridge, and they are just implementing it now. I'm not that familiar with it, but I haven't been trained on it yet. I believe they're going to train the whole village on how to utilize it. But I understand that if you were registered in Code Red, it's automatically transferred.
You'll be transferred. So it's something that the viewers today should keep their eye out for in terms of more information about the alert system.
Yeah, absolutely. And they really, if you've not been in Code Red, you really need to get involved in the Everbridge. We had an earthquake, I believe it was the Julian one or the Rialto one, where I got a big loud screech on my phone, and it's in 3 seconds we'll have an earthquake. And by gosh, in 3 seconds we had an earthquake. We could feel it.
Given that,
Yes.
that there's that possibility, what is your first piece of advice to residents about getting or preparing for the possibility of an earthquake?
Okay, I have 3 words.
You do?
I do. I have 3 I have a lot of words, but the primary 3 words for this is plan, prepare, and practice.
Okay, let's take them one by one.
Okay.
What do you mean by the word plan?
So when you're at home, like today, after this show, after you've seen this show, go through every room in your house because you don't know where you're going to be at home if an earthquake happens that you need to take cover. So look around each room and see where you can go to protect yourself from falling items. Stay away from the glass, windows, anything hanging on your walls, stay away from those TV units, things like that. That's how you would prepare in case an earthquake happens.
Well, first you plan, so you locate
yes.
where you could go.
Yes, that's the plan.
And now what does prepare mean?
Prepare is you might want to set up a situation where there's put a table a little bit close to this chair and you could get underneath it to protect yourself. So just plan where you're going, how you're going to protect yourself. Plan what you're going to need if you are limited to getting out of there. If you're limited and you need to stay in your residence, you can
All right, we'll get to that in a minute.
All right.
What do you mean by the word practice?
You need to practice. You don't need to practice every week or every month. You need to keep it in the back of your mind where you're going to go in case a disaster, an earthquake happens in each room.
Okay. Now you talked about getting under a table or a piece of furniture. We have a lot of people in the village who have more limited mobility. Yes. It may be difficult for them to get down on the floor, or once they get down on the floor, difficult or impossible to get up.
Yes.
So what do you suggest?
Well, let's do the wheelchair first.
Okay.
Okay, so when you're in a wheelchair, you still need that plan to where you're going to be, what you're going to do, but in a wheelchair, you must lock your wheel and then grab something, a pillow, a blanket, a book, anything. Put your head down and cover yourself. If you don't have anything, cover your head like this and kind of wait it out. Let's say you're in bed and you can't get out of bed. grab those pillows and cover yourself. If you can roll over with your stomach down to protect your organs. But if you can't even roll over, get those cushions. Make sure you're covering your head, but cover your
Core body?
core body also.
Okay, so the person, though, who can't get down on the floor, what are you suggesting to them?
At my house, I have planned to get under the cushions on my couch, on my sofa, because I can do that and cover myself with the cushions. That way, after it's over, I can get up. I personally cannot get up off the floor once I get down on it. So I've kind of planned that, or a chair, someplace where you can get up from. And I found that the sofa is a very good place.
All right. And to use whatever means to cover themselves.
Yes.
And if they're in bed, to go belly down.
If they can, or at least cover themselves with the pillows or blankets.
All right. Now, if an earthquake occurs, I know one of the things that has been suggested, and I think you alluded to it before, is to have shelter-in-place supplies.
Absolutely.
What does that mean, Grace?
Well, you're going to need, you may not be able to leave your manor, so you have to have supplies that you can utilize in up to 3 days. So you're going to need equipment, you're going to need food, you're going to need your medicine that you can get to easily, things like that. You're going to shelter in place, mean get all the things that you need in a small area, because you might not be able to run around the house after an earthquake. So don't make you don't need a big pot or a big can, just a duffel bag filled with items, your medical, very important, a printed list of phone numbers for your family, for emergency numbers, anything like that. Put that in the bag, because believe me, if the phone goes down, you will not remember those phone numbers. I can't, because I count on my phone to pull them up.
Okay, I think when we talked before, you also suggested that people have road maps?
That's for if you have to evacuate.
Okay, before we go to evacuate,
Yes.
I think you also suggested something about money.
Yes, you should actually, in your bag, it could be a to-go bag or your shelter-in-place bag, have money, small denominations, 20s, 10s, 5s, and 1s, because that's going to get you out of trouble if you need to spend money. You go to a market during a disaster, they have a tendency to not have any change for your 20.
It's an accident, correct?
Well, that's what they say, yes.
All right, let's talk about the possibility that, there was one other thing, and it was something I would not have thought of to have, and that was a whistle.
I have a whistle in every room in my house and in my car.
Why?
If you are in a situation where you can't get out, you're under a bunch of beams or the roof has fallen in, you can't get out, people can't get in, they may not know you're there. You may not have a strong enough voice to be able to let them know. A whistle, everyone can hear a whistle. And you just blow that whistle every once, you don't have to continuously blow it and run out of oxygen, but just blow it on a regular basis so that someone outside will know that you're there and where they can come and help you.
Okay, let's back up a minute. That's assuming that you can't leave your house, but on occasion, people will have to evacuate.
Yes.
And what should they have if evacuation becomes necessary?
We call that a to-go bag.
Okay.
And in the to-go bag, you will have all of your medications that you need, hygiene products, change of clothes, always a pair of shoes. You don't know where you're going to be walking. It could be on glass, so you need a good pair of shoes. Medicines, some supply of food. Don't bring cans. Your to-go bag needs to be something you can carry. So it can't be real heavy, but put granola bars, breakfast bars, lightweight products in your to-go bag, and very essential, street maps in the area, because if you need to evacuate, you will need, if you can imagine everyone here and all in the area trying to get on that freeway to evacuate, you're not going anywhere. So have a street map of the area so you
that
can
you
find
have some way.
alternate routes.
Well, and we don't know, quite honestly, if there will be buildings or shelters set aside where they will be sending evacuees. You know, that would be up to OC Fire and the Sheriff's Department,
yes.
but we don't have that information. Just summarize for us. So you would distinguish the shelter-in-place supplies from the go bag. For shelter-in-place, you don't have to worry about how heavy it is, but the go bag you do?
Oh, sure, because you're going to grab that and you're going to take off. You know, you're going to run either to your car or to your neighbor's car or to a bus that the security has provided for you to get you out of the area. You may have to walk a little ways. You have to have something you can carry, but it doesn't need to be more than 3 days worth of anything that you're thinking
And
of.
a backpack would probably work well for a lot of people.
A backpack would work very well, yes.
Is there anything that you want to tell us that you want residents to think about in terms of preparing for an earthquake?
That it's probably going to happen.
Okay, so they shouldn't think that this is a pie in the sky preparation.
Absolutely. You know, Northridge people didn't think it was going to happen to them, and look what happened, you know?
Okay.
And know your neighbors. Get to know your neighbors, because you don't know. You might need them, or they may need you during a disaster for shelter, for comforting, for acknowledging that you need assistance. They may be able to go get your help. Get to know your neighbor.
Okay. I understand that you also attend, I think, almost every meeting of the Disaster Preparedness Task Force?
I try to attend every meeting. If I'm not out of town, I'm here. Yes.
All right. What is that?
It is a group of board members from United, from Third. Sometimes the Towers shows up. GRF is there. Eric Nunez, the Director of Security, is there. And I think that's about it. Mm-hmm. And maybe an advisor, I'm sorry.
But since we're talking about disaster preparedness, what does that group do?
They plan on updating what the procedures that a resident or an employee needs to do during a disaster. And I think they go over it and update it frequently. Or someone like me goes to a meeting and I have an idea, I can get up and present that idea to them, and they can decide whether
the public can attend, correct?
Oh, absolutely. I highly recommend the residents go to these meetings.
And how often do they meet?
It's every other month, starting with January. So you skip a month after January each month, and it is the last Tuesday of every other month at 9:30 at the Community Center Boardroom.
Okay. And I understand that you have another responsibility in the village as well. You are the clubhouse coordinator for Clubhouse 3?
Yes, for a disaster. They have a coordinator there that works with the...
You're a volunteer, correct?
I am a volunteer, yes.
Okay.
And I am in charge of the Clubhouse 3, which is the Performing Arts Center, during a disaster only. I don't have anything to do with that clubhouse unless there's a disaster. And then I go, and I personally have a team of 25 people that practice 3-4 times a year on what to do in Clubhouse 3 for a disaster.
Where does this team come from?
Well, word of mouth usually. But
They're residents?
Yes, they're all residents. Some of them are retired medical professionals. Some are retired security professionals. Some are secretarial workers. Some have never done anything as far as a career in their whole life, and we need them all. And they come to my training, and they either choose to participate or not.
Okay, when you say you're training, what kinds of things do you cover?
Well, we cover if a disaster happened and we all went to the clubhouse, we have to set it up. We have to put up tables, chairs, signs. We have to have a first aid room, a advanced medical room, a quiet room where residents can go if they're upset. We have a volunteer and good neighbor captain room where you can go, and if we need you, we come and get you and say, can you help with this? And we'll get them there. There's a radio room for the amateur radio operators to send the messages and the needs to the Emergency Operations Center.
Okay. Now you said that your team are all volunteers?
Every one of them is a volunteer, dedicated volunteers.
What if people watching this broadcast are interested in becoming a volunteer?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, Marcy. We would want them to go to security and tell them that they're interested in volunteering. And I think security will then assign them a clubhouse. And primarily what we want is someone who is able to walk to the clubhouse. So it needs to be a club that they need to let them know what clubhouse they live near.
All right. Are there coordinators for the other clubhouses yet?
We're looking for other coordinators. We have one for Clubhouse 1, brand new. We have a coordinator for Clubhouse 4, and I am Clubhouse 3.
So we have some that are missing from that list.
Oh yes, we really need them. But we really need the volunteers who will come and help the coordinator. Because you can do it, even if I'm the coordinator for Clubhouse 3 and I'm out of town, my crew knows exactly what to do. So we need you, whether you want to be a coordinator or just a volunteer.
Have the clubhouses ever been used in an emergency context?
Only, there was about 7 years ago when I first came here, the security director, Tim Moy, had a massive mock disaster. The community came out, they bandaged them, they pretended there was blood on them, they were laying all over the ground, and and the radio operators went to their stations, the clubhouse coordinators went to their stations. We did do that, and we need to do it again because it really allows you to understand what is needed.
It's almost like the mass casualty drill in a hospital.
Exactly like that, yes.
Okay, when we talked in preparation for today, you told me that in an emergency, it isn't the government, it isn't security. It's really neighbors helping neighbors that get people through a disaster or an emergency. What did you mean by that?
I'm going to use Northridge as an example. Northridge was just totally devastated. The whole city was destroyed practically. The first responders typically will go to the place that they can help the most people. So it would be an area where people are gathering. So you think about an apartment building, that's not a place where people are gathering. So in Northridge, more people were saved by neighbors than by first responders because of that scenario.
So what you're really saying, the bottom line is get to know your neighbor?
Absolutely.
And if you had to leave advice, your 3 words you would leave with the people watching this broadcast?
Plan, prepare, and practice.
Okay. Is there, other than the plan, prepare, and practice, is there anything else you would like people to remember from the things that we talked about today?
I think probably a very important thing is if you are involved in a major earthquake and it has stopped shaking and you've taken care of all of your little planned procedures, you want to get up and you want to leave, but you have to remember that there are aftershocks, some of which are larger than the earthquake itself,
okay,
and it might not be safe. So before you step out that door or go out that hole in the wall, make sure where you're going is still safe.
I think that's important advice. And one thing that we didn't talk about in the shelter-in-place supplies, that if you have a pet, that pet needs to eat as well, correct?
Yes, absolutely. Fill that little bag with pet items also.
Grace, thank you very, very much for coming in today and talking to us about this important topic.
Thank you, Marcy, for having me, and I hope that the residents will take advantage of volunteering.
Me too. Thanks.
Thank you.